Saturday. I'm Dr. Malia Jensen. Welcome to Dr. J's Prescription for Health. This is a channel where you can ask questions. We do live streams every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central, every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central. So that's an opportunity for you to ask medical questions. As a reminder, this is not medical advice. It's for information purposes only. Maybe a little bit of entertainment in there as well. So we'll wait for everybody to kind of jump on. Um, Good morning, everybody. I did have a question that came on here. I haven't been asked this one for a long time. So instead of just jumping into a topic of choice, maybe we'll answer these questions here that are floating in. I am live on Instagram and YouTube. So the question is, do I eat grains? And the answer is no, I do not. I When I gave up grains, by default, you end up eating a lot more proteins and fat. I gave up grains after I watched a lecture on YouTube, and I basically gave them up right away. And in fact, I was eating more vegetables at the time than anything, instead of grains. I can't say that I was eating a lot of grains, but I could feel it after I know the symptoms I was having. And after watching that lecture, it changed my life. In a, I mean, not like dramatically. I knew that carbs were bad for me. They might be bad for you as well, but they are bad for me. S- I would say the reason I gave up grains is because of my gut. I just don't think they're very healthy. And for me, I could tell when I was inflamed. Grains cause gut permeability. In other words, the cells that are lining the gut lining, they are supposed to be real tight and no gaps in between. And when we increase permeability, basically it's because of inflammation. If we have inflammation in our gut, we get something called gap junctions. Okay. And the things that are in grains like wheat germ or gluten or agglutinin, I should say, those increase inflammation. They increase gut permeability, and you can tell by checking a zonulin level. A zonulin level you can get by blood work, and it's pretty accurate as far as showing gut permeability. But in all essence, your symptoms are as well. So symptoms of gas and bloating and cramping and maybe even diarrhea alternating with constipation. We end up calling it irritable bowel, and we give it a diagnosis and a name, and then we say we got some special disease when really it's all caused from your your diet. Well, my mom and dad both had it, and your mom and dad both ate crap. That's the truth of it. Um, Hi, doctor. I've been on a low carb diet for 4 months. I have lost 15 kilos. Wow. That is awesome. Congratulations. That's around 35 pounds, but I constantly feel tired. So has that changed, or has the tiredness come on from doing the low carb diet? Let me know, and then I can maybe answer that better. Good morning, 1910, and hi, Michael. Where are you guys listening from? What city, what state, what country? Goober says, what foods should we avoid? I suppose that is a very open-ended question. And do you have any medical concerns? In general, I don't think that we should be eating processed foods, seed oils, and sugar. Those are the foods you absolutely should avoid. Processed foods, seed oils, and sugar. But I don't know what your specifics are. And let me know, the anonymous, with the low carb diet for 4 months and the fatigue. I'm interested. Michael is listening from London. Where are you guys listening from on Instagram? One thing with a low carb diet, especially at 4 months, when naturally, when we start cutting carbs out, we may not increase our fats and proteins. We'll by default eat fats and protein, but we may not be eating enough fuel, enough calories. In the initial 4 to 6 to even 12 months, you could be consistently losing weight. The weight will be coming off. The initial pounds is usually water. As you guys know, when you lower carbohydrates, you lower sugar. When you lower sugar, you lower insulin. When you lower insulin, you will spill water and spill salt. When that happens, your blood pressure goes down. You do this kind of conservation. You go into a conservation mode. Now, if this person has been on a low carb diet, it could be considered a low calorie diet. And over 4 months, your BMR starts slowing down. So your basal metabolic rate will actually slow down because your body senses that you're not taking in enough calories. Okay. When you don't take in enough calories, your body senses that as starvation. Starvation is not the real word for it, but I'm just saying that you start shutting down to conserve energy. And when we do that, your thyroid can actually kind of calm down too. It's not as active as it was. If you are in this state, and I'm just trying to read into it, you're on a low carb diet, 4 months, feeling tired, I would try increasing the amount of fuel that is coming in. I would increase fat as well as protein. Once your body senses that it's not in starvation mode, it's sensing that you're feeding it, your energy levels will come back. Okay. That's just, one thing that I'm assuming. Um, yeah, you're tired from the diet, I assume. Hopefully I just explained why a possibility of why you could be tired. You're from the UK, London. Nice to meet you. I only have high cholesterol, but with the diet, trigs and HDL have come way down. LDL is still quite high. And I'm glad you bring this up because this has been a topic for the past 2 weeks for me is LDL, heart disease, whether or not you need to take a statin, whether or not you actually need to be lowering your cholesterol. Let me give you just some just some basics, okay? Let me give you I got some notes. I'm gonna and this is notes from this week, okay? Here's how I look at it. And no, I'm not a cardiologist. Let's just put that up front. I don't necessarily think and I'm going to ruffle some feathers. I don't necessarily think that you need to be a cardiologist to give cardiology advice. Okay. Just like I don't think that you need to be a dermatologist to give dermatology advice. We came up with all of these specialties for an agenda. Okay. And they've divided doctors. Back in the day, doctors would, you would basically be a primary care or a family practice doctor, and you would do everything. You would deliver babies and do all these things. But when the agenda is to divide doctors into categories, that's when specialties came up. Okay. And now family practice doctors are basically lowest on the totem pole. No specialty cares for a family practice doctor. Although if there was no family practice doctor, you wouldn't have referrals to your specialties. So they need us. They just can't stand us. They think that we are stepping on their toes, which I guess is understandable, but I can't see it. Nonetheless, here's my thought on the high cholesterol. Okay. Let's just say you have never had a heart attack and you've never had a stroke. No bark. Your risk is now called primary prevention. You are basically preventing the first heart attack or the first stroke. That's called primary prevention. If you have high LDL, what I would suggest is getting a calcium score. There are other labs that I'd suggest you get as well, but let's just go with this calcium score because I want to explain something to you. If you get a calcium score and your score is 0, you are considered low risk. There is a study out. I believe it was from 2015, but do not quote me on that. It is called the MESA study, MESA, MESA study. And the MESA study had like nearly 7,000 participants, I believe. Okay. And what they found that if you had a calcium score and it was for primary prevention and you didn't smoke and you didn't drink alcohol and you don't have diabetes, the number needed to treat, how many people do you need to treat to prevent one heart attack or stroke in 10 years? If your calcium score is 0, you would have to treat 87 people for 10 years to prevent one event. If your score was between 1 and 99, your calcium score was between 1 and 99, you would have to treat 42 people over 10 years in order to prevent one heart attack or stroke. If the score was over 100, you would need to treat 19 people over 10 years in order to prevent one event. Now, what does this mean to you? I know these numbers are kind of abstract. If your score is 0 and you have high LDL, the AHA, American Heart Association, and the ACC, American College of Cardiologists, are on board with what we call the power of 0. The power of 0 would indicate that let's watch and wait. You are not you're likely not a candidate for a statin or a cholesterol lowering agent. And what they would probably, if you are following guidelines, what they would suggest is recheck the calcium score in 3 to 5 years. If there's progression, then you reevaluate and say, hey, we need to now treat, depending on where you fall in that category. Because if there's progression from 0, now you're between either 1 and 99 or over 100, right? And now you have to look at your risk factors. So with the power of 0, if you have a 0 calcium score, never had an event, don't smoke, and don't have diabetes, the chances of you having an event is very, very slim, very low. But what is happening is doctors aren't looking at calcium scores. If you ask them for a calcium score, they'll just poo-poo you for the most part and say, it won't matter because your LDL's high and we're treating LDL. And if you guys want to catch my last 4 reels, just go back 4 reels and start at the beginning. The first one was why you should take a statin. The second one was why you may not want to take a statin. The third one basically dealt with all of the naysayers from the first one and the second one, but especially the second one, because there was a lot of ad hominem attacks, a lot of bullying, a lot of medical gaslighting. And that same medical gaslighting is what's being used on you guys. Okay. You'll see your doctor, they'll show you your LDL. That's the only thing they'll show you. And then they'll say, here's your prescription. And you say no. And what they do is they call it's called medical gaslighting. They'll say, oh, okay, well, it's at your risk. Okay. If you wanna have a heart attack, go ahead. I'm recommending a statin or whatever they recommend. I'm recommending this medication. And if you don't take it, then you're basically just putting yourself into a category of having a heart attack. So go ahead. That's medical gaslighting. They're bullying you. They're using a gaslighting technique to get you to back down, to get you to wonder or question whether you are right or not. So you feel strongly because you've looked up this information. You feel strongly with how you eat and your exercise routine and all your lifestyles. You've been medically gaslit, and you start questioning your decisions. That is a definite sign of medical gaslighting. And we do this all the time. When I say we, I have been known to do it in my past as well. And over the past 5 years, I have changed my tune only because I've gone back to educational school and I'm teaching myself more and more and more that I didn't learn over the previous 23 years. Okay. I learned what they told me, and I had basically blinders on. And so the fourth reel was on the statin blind spot because it is real for doctors. When we have been educated all one way, all of us, even the doctors, we're being told that LDL is the cause of a heart attack and stroke. Get the LDL down to that. Now the guidelines are 100 or even 70, and then even now 55. When you guys know, lay down. When you guys know that cholesterol is very good for you, you've been studying, you say, oh no, I need cholesterol for my brain. I need cholesterol for my vitamin D. I need cholesterol for my sex hormones. I need cholesterol for my immune system. You guys are learning that you shouldn't shut down cholesterol for, I've been reading, you shouldn't shut it down. But yet you're being told that you should shut it down because it's the cause of heart attack. And you surely don't want to have a heart attack or stroke, right? This is the medical gaslighting that has been going on for, since the 1970s. Okay. And it's real. I was victim of it. Okay. You stopped statins 4 months ago. Okay. I'm surprised that you weren't fatigued before. You say you went low carb and did all these things, and then for 4 months, but you're tired. Actually, statins have been known to cause a lot of fatigue, and they actually disrupt our sleep. And nice to meet you as well. Okay. Let's answer some of these questions I'm seeing. High LDL is a good, Dr. Ken Berry said, but as long as your triglycerides are low, that's all that matters. With certain caveats, Uncle Charlie. High LDL in okay. There's another study, Uncle Charlie, in 60 and 70 and years above that do show that longevity increases with higher LDL. Here's where the LDL, and here's how I'm going to explain. Uncle Charlie gave the caveat that as long as your triglycerides are low, and low means 70 or less, that is low. That is optimal triglyceride. If you lower triglyceride that low, okay, your HDL will go up. So what Dr. Berry is saying, your LDL matters less if your triglycerides are very low and your HDL is very high. Less than 70, greater than 70. And for the most part, that is right on, perfectly said, on it's correct with gentle caveats. Okay, Uncle Charlie, there are carnivores who do have heart attacks. And why is that? If the carnivore eating because the only way you're going to get low trigs and high HDL like that is if you're not eating carbohydrates. You don't necessarily have to be a carnivore. I shouldn't have said that. I should say a ketogenic. So on a ketogenic diet, the only problem is when you have high LDL and low trigs, high HDL, and you think you're in the clear. I have seen it. It's pretty rare, but I have seen it where a person who's on a ketogenic diet has that pattern you're talking about, Uncle Charlie, with high LDL, low trigs, and high HDL. And you would assume all of those LDLs are light and fluffy and buoyant, with the exception of if the person has difficulty recycling those LDLs, and those LDLs are left in the bloodstream, and they become small dense LDLs, and small dense LDLs are highly damaging because they get oxidized. So, Uncle Charlie, if you could have just added to this a little bit, and this is the way I do it. I don't know how Dr. Berry does it, and he might already do this. I do not know. So Uncle Charlie says, I'm going to give the full sentence. If this was what it should say, high LDL is good, according to Dr. Ken Berry, because as long as your triglycerides are low, your HDL is high, and you got a advanced lipid test and your small dense LDLs are low. That is how I work it. Lay down. We got some active puppies today, but they'll calm down here as I keep talking. If I see a patient, even if they're carnivore, and they have the high HDL, the low trigs, and a huge LDL, I'm going to get an NMR anyway. I'm going to get an advanced lipid test. Even if you told me their calcium score was 0, I'm still going to do it because I just want to be careful and I want to explain to the patient everything. I don't want to leave anything untouched, okay? Even though the MESA study says a calcium score of 0, even if you had an LDL over 190, your risk is very low. And that could well be. It could well be your risk, even if you had small dense LDLs, it doesn't mean that they're oxidized yet. Okay. I would just want to be extra careful. So that is just, and I don't know if Dr. Berry does that. Isn't it more about the particle size with regards to LDL cholesterol? And hey, thank you for the gift. I really appreciate it. That means a lot. That's how this channel keeps going, you guys. No, it's going to keep going. I shouldn't have said that, but it means a lot to me when you support this channel. And it, I guess it just means a lot. And it helps me keep things going. It helps me, you know, maybe get a new computer or maybe get a new ring light or whatever it is. Okay. Just, it helps. You know what I was just thinking about today, what I really should look into when I find that I can make monthly payments and all of this without worrying any problems or anything like that would be to get and I don't know anything about it. I have to really look into it. Getting a streaming service where you only record in one area and then it shoots it out to all of the platforms. I think that would be ideal for me in the future. Not right now. I mean, I'm just kind of a low hanging fruit on the totem pole right now. So it's not a big thing for me because I like how I have it set up. You guys might not, and it might be old school, but I'm kind of old school. Melanie says, what does the NMR entail? It's a blood test. NMR is a blood test. I actually looked it up for somebody, a small NMR test that would give you pretty good information. I looked up, like if I ordered it, it's like $35, plus 12 for the draw fee. So you're looking at $50 or so. All right. For an NMR, and more detailed NMR would be closer to $150. And it's also a blood test. Lay down. Okay. Isn't it? So that answered that question on TL Miller isn't it more about the particle size? And yes, I would agree, but getting a calcium score would really help. If you have small dense LDLs, I am guessing for the most part, unless you're one of those rare ketogenic people that have a lot of small dense LDLs, your triglyceride will be elevated and your HDL will be very low. That tells me that you have a lot of small dense LDLs. Do I need to get that NMR? Likely not. But sometimes I do get it to show people that, hey, if you keep doing what you're doing, which is a high carb diet, usually that's how you get high triglycerides, low HDL, high insulin, your NMR is going to show a pattern of small dense LDLs. And then you're going to get all freaked out and then you're going to take a medication to lower your LDLs. When you take a medication to lower LDLs, it lowers all LDLs, all your good LDLs, your intermediate LDLs, your small dense LDLs, all of them. It doesn't say, "Ooh, I think I'm going to pick and choose and I'm just going to lower the bad guys." No, it doesn't do that. So you want to make sure that well, it's your choice. In the grand scheme of things, you guys, it is your choice. If you want to just, go by the way of the taking the medication, lower all LDLs, go for it. But you still have small dense LDLs there, so you can still have a heart attack. Okay, because it's still if it's plaquing, it's plaquing. And plaque begets plaque. So if you got a little plaque, you're going to have a lot more plaque. You take a statin, you're going to have even more plaque because statins cause more calcification. They stabilize plaque and they cause de novo calcification out of the blue. Okay, so we talked about the particle size, and we hopefully answered Melanie's question in regards to what that entails. So Melanie says, I have high HDL and very low trigs, but freaking about the information coming out about very high LDL increasing all-cause mortality. The reason your HDL is high is because of your low trigs. So Melanie, in your case, where I feel comfortable with what you got going on, I would still, for you, consider getting a calcium scoring test and an NMR. I think it would make your heart feel calmer. And for an extra, let's just say at the most $200 for the calcium score and the blood work, I just think it would for you, I think it might be in your best interest. I think it would reassure you. I don't know, but I'm just guessing. I'm guessing a lot of people are here who are hearing you right now talk would feel confident. I would also get an insulin level. If you get an insulin level, that will also help you feel more reassured if you know how to interpret it. Okay. You can get a CRP, a high sensitive CRP. You can get an IL-6. You can get a SED rate. All three of those are inflammatory markers and would give you even more information. So if you have the funds, the financials to get all of these tests, it just helps you paint a bigger picture of what's going on. The more information you have, the better decision you can make, and you'll feel good about it. If I just give you a little bit of information, like just your LDL or just your ApoB, then it is very, very hard for most people to make a good decision. In it's I can make a better decision because I'm in it, but you guys are not in it. You're not doctors. Not that you have to be a doctor. I take that back because then that gets back to the cardiology thing and basically ad hominem and bullying and all these other things. But I think if you educate yourself, most of you guys listening to me right now know this stuff I'm talking about. You already know it. You're in the know. You are more in the know than half the doctors I see online. And that's saying something. They spend a lot of money for their education. All right. You're getting it free online. I spent a lot of money on my education, you guys. I'd have no regrets. But once your eyes get opened into what was actually going on, it's like a whirlwind of information overwhelming you. It's hard to explain, but I haven't told my physician that I stopped the statins. I don't expect them to be happy. Likely not. You're stepping on their toes. You're stepping on their ego, and they do not like they might fire you. And they might fire you. Actually, they work for you. I don't even know what to call you, but I can call you Green Spot because you're green avatar. So I can call you Green for right now. The what I'm I guess what I'm trying to say is your doctor works for you. They don't You don't work for them. Okay. I know it seems hard, but when you go into their office, you're actually hiring them to do you a service. Just like if you take your car in to get an oil change or get work done, you are hiring the oil change person, the mechanic, to do work for you. The same goes for the doctor. You are hiring the doctor to do work for you. They aren't hiring you to do work for them. You're hiring them, but you've got it where you hold the doctor to this high pedestal and you have to do exactly what they say as if you're working for them and you're not. They're working for you. So when they say they're going to fire you, you that isn't true. They're just not going to see you anymore because they don't like your attitude or they don't like that you're taking your health into your own hands. They have a complex that says, if they're going to do it, then just go do it. I'm firing you. Now, just go find somebody else that you can hire. Interview them. See where their thought process are. You don't just go and are you going to just hire a babysitter for your kids that came off the street? Say, hey, can you come watch my kids? No, you're going to interview them and see if they answer the questions appropriately that, match with your thinking. Okay. Selena says, how did Elizabeth Holmes get her blood test gadget out without a patent or peer review? Gosh, you stumped me. I have no idea who Elizabeth Holmes are or about the blood test gadget that you're referring to. My family, okay, you say GP, general practitioner in the UK. I think a lot of people in the USA call them PCP, primary care provider, or GP. The older people will call them GP. A family doctor, that I think that's what a family doctor refers to themselves as. I'm a family physician. I'm family medicine. I'm a family doctor. When hardly ever anymore are we seeing families, but we still call it that. Primary care provider. I just say, I'm a doctor. I'm a physician. Oh, what specialty are you? That is the first question. What specialty are you? Family practice. What does it mean when your kneecap turns purple when you're laying down and goes away when you stand up? Oh, geez. I don't know about that. I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure. I wish I could help you. It's not coming to my brain right now. Maybe my disc will spin around and I'll come up with some diagnosis, but I'm not sure at the moment. Um, I would venture to guess it has something to do with Venus return, but because of the color, but I don't know. You don't have any form of Raynaud's, do you? Uh, User says diet is unique to each person. Okay. What is best for one is not necessarily best for another. Expand on that, user. Okay. Expand on that a little more. um, I think we as a person are a species. And I think for the most part, should be eating a species appropriate diet. No person, which is a human species, should eat processed food, seed oils, and sugar. They should not, no matter what you think is best for you and not best for another. Because I'm not going to get into that, but okay. Thanks for letting people know about these statins. I lost a very good friend to dementia. I know it was caused by the statin and that she was taking. I'm so sorry to hear that, Joan. Um, I have a personal I have personal story invested in this as well. Um, both both of my parents were on statins. I don't necessarily know how long my mom was on a statin. I'm guessing at least 30 years, and my dad was on at least 40 years. And, my parents were very, very different. My mom was not very athletic, not into exercising. She just basically lived like you guys. She'd wake up, have a bagel at breakfast time and a diet soda, and then lunch it might not even be anything, and then come home and have dinner and have, a steak and some hash browns or pork chops and hash browns or steak and fries or just typical, but never really um not in some sort of an elimination diet. Whereas my dad, he was an athlete, a runner, he lifted weights, He did everything the doctor told him to. They told him to get rid of red meat, he got rid of red meat. They told him to get rid of his fat, so he started boiling everything he ate. He would boil chicken, he would eat tuna, he would strain it, rinse it off, and they told him to increase his fiber, so he started eating bran flakes and flaxseed and all these grains. And my dad was a fairly skinny man. He was an athlete. He was very lean, abs, the whole 9 yards. Well, long story short, my dad ended up with progressive supranuclear palsy. Progressive supranuclear palsy. Lay down. So I figured out what they're doing. There's a blanket laying on their bed, and underneath the blanket is a bone. And so instead of crawling underneath the blanket to get the bone, we're going to try to scratch through the blanket to get to the bone. It's an odd way of thinking, but we'll see how long it lasts. I've tried to show them that once they put the bone underneath there, you have to go underneath to get the bone back. But we'll see how this goes. um, so with my dad, it was heartbreaking because progressive supranuclear palsy killed my dad, I believe, in 7 years or less. He also was on a statin and had 5 vessel disease. 5 vessels were 100% blocked. And he never had a heart attack. In fact, his heart was still functioning perfectly. But they did a bypass anyway, even though he had collaterals that were working very well. Brand new blood vessels feeding the heart. They bypassed him anyway because they found something, they got to fix it. So, being on the statin for that long, he gets this progressive supranuclear palsy. He ends up with AFib because statins increase your risk of AFib. So, when I ended my relationship with my earthly dad, he couldn't talk, he couldn't eat, and he surely couldn't walk. I changed his briefs every day, twice a day. I helped shower him. And no, I do not have proof that statins did all of this to my dad, but it surely is not a coincidence because I'm hearing very similar things like Joan tell her story. Now, as far as my mom is concerned, she's got Parkinson's. There's no family history of any of these things, you guys. And even if there were, there's a different story there and how we get that stuff. But, I can see with my mom's diet and that sort of thing that, okay, Parkinson's is pretty common in that. If you look at, you know, if you were to question every Parkinson patient in your life, ask them if they're on a statin or were on a statin. And I'm venture to guess it's greater than 50% for sure, and likely upwards to 80% that were on a statin and have Parkinson's. Stop. Guess what? They crawled underneath the blanket and got the bone out. Got some smart little pups. User says keto is usually hard on the body in certain ways. Tell me about that, user. Explain, why is keto hard on the body in certain ways? I hate trying to read your mind. So help us all out who are listening right now. Why keto is hard on the body in certain ways to usually help the brain, but not always. Explain, and then I can maybe expand on what you're trying to say. Michael says, my number are insanely incredible. Plus, I even made major transformation in the last 6 months. I went from 292 to 201 pounds today. Excellent. That's awesome. That girl says, I'm trying to stay away from sugar. So since I had no candy, sweets, or nothing like that, and I'm over here shaking like a crackhead, that's because sugar is actually a stronger drug than crack, cocaine, or heroin. And those, you're going to go through withdrawal for the next month. It's worse the first 7 to 14 days. So, yeah, you just spoke everything about, and an addiction. You are addicted to sugar, which is a drug. And, it surprises me that people really don't think of it as a drug. I would ask my people, I'll say, would you give your little kid alcohol? Oh, no, Dr. Johnson, I would never give alcohol. Would you give them crack cocaine? Are you kidding me? Like, why are you even asking that question? But if I ask them, I say, why did you let your kid run down the street to grab a Reese's peanut butter cup and some hot tamales? Well, that's what kids do. That's normal. So that person doesn't necessarily think that that they're giving their kids sugar is a drug when it's actually more, they just don't understand the addiction potential. And so that's really too bad that they will give themselves the most highly rated or regarded drug, as in sugar, but yet not give them alcohol or not give them crack cocaine. Okay. What am I using? I use, it's Paula's Choice. It is a peptide. It's a peptide by Paula's Choice. That is what it's called. I like it. It's not too sticky. It's a pro-collagen peptide. It's a glossy balm, but it's not sticky. It's supposed to plump up your lips, but I just like it that it actually increases blood flow. So they say plump, I say increase blood flow. Your lips need blood flow always. Okay. Aloha, Michael. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Um, the Spillo says, I have a CRP between 6 and 20 for the last 4 years. None of the tests showed anything. What route should I follow? You, Vespillo, you might want to schedule a consultation with me and we can go over everything. If you guys want to sign up for a consultation, email me at ironladydoc@aol.com. Just getting a CRP is not enough information. You want to look at some other labs. In fact, for inflammation, there's high sensitive CRP, there's an IL-6, interleukin-6, and a SED rate. I would get all three. There's some other inflammatory markers as well, but if I would never hang my hat just on a CRP. And is it a high sensitive CRP? A CRP can go up just eating. So if you eat something, inflammation goes up in your body, a CRP will rise. So, I don't know when you had your CRP checked. If you had just had lunch and you get your CRP checked, your CRP is going to be elevated. But again, I don't have enough information to comment. Yeah, I've heard people using StreamYard. Yeah, I think I looked into it at the very beginning and it was a monthly fee that I really couldn't see myself getting right now. And seemed very, very complicated. Again, I am a producer of one with no IT experience. I actually went to medical school, residency, and became indoctrinated over the past 30 years. And so I have to undo all of that in order to actually fit some IT stuff into my little brain. Michael says, do I know peptides? I know them. Do I know them? Well, no. Do I know about the GLPs? Absolutely, I know about the GLPs. What is considered a high carb? If a person eats carbs around their workout, is it also detrimental to their health? Well, you have to think about it this way, Lucy. Anytime you spike glucose, you increase glycation. If you spike glucose, you increase glycation. Glycation is aging. It's aging your cells. Glycation is anytime a sugar binds to a protein. So if you have proteins in your brain, you eat sugar, it binds to those. If you, in your skin, the collagen and elastin are proteins in your skin, you eat sugar, it spikes, you glycate proteins. Once you glycate proteins, you don't get them back. Now, hopefully you'll be able to build up some collagen and elastin in your skin, and those are new proteins. But once they're glycated and gummed up, they're not working anymore. Once we gum up our eyes over time from glycation, like cataracts or macular degeneration or things like that, which they don't believe in, but I do, is, I mean, you got all these lights, you got the crappy crapola food that you're putting in your body, you're getting glycation. People say, but I need to replenish my glycogen stores after I work out. Your glycogen stores will replenish themselves with your body, your normal body. There is no reason that you need carbs. There's absolutely no essential carbohydrates, even if you worked out and ran a marathon. Once your body gets used to no carbs, a ketogenic lifestyle, your body will burn ketones as fuel. Okay. High carb to me is anything over 20 grams. But again, as the user said, everybody's body's different. Of course, everybody's body's different. Some people have more muscle, some people have more fat. And why do we have fat? Because of the diet, because of high insulin. So I don't know if I answered your question, Lucy, but hopefully I did. All right. Let me see. All right. Babs says, why? Let me make sure I don't have anything over here. You guys are quiet over on Instagram. And Jensen, you're very welcome. I appreciate you for being here. Okay, so why Babs asks, why don't doctors know the proper tests to run? Well, one, I'm not going to speak for another doctor. How about let's ask Babs, why don't you ask Dr. Jensen, how come you didn't know the proper tests to run? Babs, I did not know the proper tests to run because I did not educate myself. I followed guidelines. Guidelines says get a lipid panel, look at the LDL. If the LDL is over 130, prescribe a statin. I admit I did not know about the what you call proper tests, which I think I know what you meant. I didn't know about any other tests because they were never taught to us. And I was seeing patients, I'm giving you excuses now. I'm seeing patients every 10, 15 minutes. And I did not take the time to read about it after I left the office or didn't have time to read at the office. And what are we actually reading? We're reading journals that are the same, the information is the same as the indoctrination I got in medical school from pharma and big corporations. Okay. It's the exact same thing. So I might not have known. The only way I learned all of this stuff is leaving the corporation and going out on my own and going back to medical school again in my own home but that took me sacrificing an income. And it was a huge sacrifice. There is not very many people out there that would have sacrificed the way I did. And I don't need you to feel sorry for me. It was what was best for me because I found it where I was not practicing ethically. I was practicing to get them in and out because I was commended on seeing that many patients and just giving them a script and getting them in and out and not taking the time. I once worked for a walk-in clinic that told me that I was spending too much time with the people. Just give them a script and get them out of here so we can fit more people in. You can see where my ethics and their ethics do not align. They do not align at all. And so that is why I went out into practice on my own. I opened Center Stage Primary Care. And I only seen, in a day, less than 15 people. And just so you cannot buy big houses and cars with that kind of income, just so you know. You probably would not be able to raise a family, okay? You would need secondary incomes in order to keep going that way. But it was gratifying for me, and I felt better about myself, okay? Babs, I don't know if that answered your question, but I think I needed to maybe put that out there so you guys understand where I'm coming from. Um, oh wow. Creatress. I think that's it. No sugar, 20 or less carbs, going on 8 weeks now. Congratulations. That's awesome. Lucy says, if you don't know how to interpret your labs, I recommend booking a consultation with Dr. Jensen. Just email me at ironladydoc@aol.com. IRONLADY, ironladydoc, DOC, at AOL.com. Mm, Hi, Chris. Michael says, eat for your blood type. Really? Really? Do you think God says, I made all these different blood types because I want you to all eat different? Do you think he did that with the birds too? That certain birds are just going to eat worms, but yet I made that bird with a certain blood type. So I'm going to tell this bird to eat this and that bird to eat that. Oh, and if you have this blood type, eat this particular diet. No. Birds eat species specifically. Humans should be eating species specific. So if you think that God made your blood type to eat certain foods, and you think maybe certain foods say eat processed foods or eat sugar, I really think that I can't get on board with that. Grapeseed oil is a seed oil. I would not eat it. Are sardines healthy? I think so. Columbus darn dogs. They're actually playing again right now, and they're making noise. I usually put one of them in the kennel during this time just because of all of the commotion that's going on. You have no idea. Okay. Good morning, 1910. Thank you for being here. Um, yes, if you have a question, please put a QQ in front of it so I can pick it out. Hold, please. Go lay down. Tallow, lay down. Lay down. Okay. Yes, Noe. Yes. More addicting than heroin. I know it's hard to believe. Mm, let's see. Is crazy ass is amlodipine a statin? No. It's a calcium channel blocker. It's used for blood pressure and for diastolic heart dysfunction. Let's see. It's normal without the meds, and he's still taking it, or he's without the meds. I don't understand. Okay. Lucy, I'm trying to help you out here a little bit. Oops. At 1910, I didn't wait for it. Sorry. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna have all that commotion on YouTube. We didn't have a topic today, DNA. We just started out with answering all the questions. Okay. Mr. George, I am in Iowa, but I actually closed my practice. It'll be a year on April 30th, and I work um, only online. So I no longer see patients in the office. I see them online. I do consultations and I go over labs. I go over medications. I go over diagnoses, family history. I go over lifestyle, including diet, exercise. I do all of that now. I did that before, but I could only see 15 patients in a day. Now I can see on something like this, I can see a whole bunch of people, like 3,000 people all at once. So I'm no longer going to limit myself. I'm just going to keep teaching. I'm going to keep sharing information. Tristan says, thoughts on eating raw liver or heart? I think if you want to eat raw liver or heart, go for it. I don't particularly like the taste, but I think as long as you're getting an organic and it's clean, it's fresh. If it's fresh, then I don't have any problem with your raw liver or heart. How about that? Coffee says, I'm a medical assistant of 23 years. Thank you. And I respect you and appreciate you. And I know exactly what you're saying. We're running faster than ever trying to get all of the 15-minute patients in. And yeah, it was difficult. It was very difficult. I just couldn't do it anymore. Yeah, you can hear the dogs, that's for sure. Okay. Your vitamin D Q Jack says vitamin D level is 110, is that okay? I think you can back off on your vitamin D level or vitamin D supplement if you're taking it. Okay. Yes, I do video consults. Yes, I do. Grouchy, low carb, no sugar tips. Here's one tip. If you're kind of early into going low carb or no carb, if you add in some exogenous ketones, it can actually help bridge the gap until your body starts burning its own fat. So I would add in exogenous ketones. You can buy them over the counter. BHB, beta hydroxybutyrate. So getting some BHB or getting just some general exogenous ketones could help bridge the gap and make you less grouchy and help transition you from a high carb diet to a low carb diet. Suzanne says, what fasting protocols do you recommend? I really don't have any fasting protocols. I I eat when I'm hungry and stop eating when I'm full. That's how I work. Some days I think fasting's okay, and then other days I think fasting's not okay. What I think is best is you eat when you're hungry and stop eating when you're full. Okay. And the minute you keep eating, that's inflammatory. That raises mTOR. It raises insulin to some degree, depending on what you're eating, and you cannot go into autophagy. But if you are a carnivore person already or eating a low carb, I think fasting could make things worse. You're already in autophagy, just not as fast as autophagy as I think you would like when you're fasting. So no, I don't have any fasting protocols. If you want to fast, I would just hope that you have enough muscle mass and you're not causing sarcopenia. I don't know how old you are, but as we age, our muscle mass goes down. And when you don't eat, you're not fueling yourself. You get tired, your BMR goes down, basal metabolic rate goes down. You don't burn as many calories, you end up getting fat around the edges. So it just depends, but you're more than welcome to do all that. Okay. Yep, you're very welcome. Oh, good to hear, Lucy. I bet it's warm there too. We went back to winter here in Iowa. It's only 35 here. We get down to about 28 in the night. So, yeah. Losing weight in old age. Is that a question, David? Or you are losing weight in old age? Mr. George says, vegetarian or carnivore, you opinion. Um, Mr. George, personally, I do not eat any plants except for coffee. So I'm guessing for me, it's going to have to, If those are the only choices, I choose carnivore. But thank you for the question. Come here. You need to go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Hmm. Manhattan says we need to be fat in old age. I think we need to have more fat on our body as we age, because it will help protect a little bit from the sarcopenia. But if you're feeding yourself carbs, which increase insulin, which makes you fat, you're actually shortening your life. You're increasing glycation. You're actually shortening your life. Okay. So the people who live to old age, if you look at them, they're usually, I'm painting a broad brushstroke here. They're usually they're thin. Okay. And they don't eat very often. And they really don't sleep much, but they take naps. They go out and they chat with their community. They're always reading. These are signs they're outside. They're working in their garden. They might not be exercising, but they can get up off the stool without any problems. And they are happy people, happy. And I think that is a sign of longevity. Okay. Mm. Manhattan says, I'm decreasing my exercise. Why? David says, my plan is to live to 100 at least. You know, David, I have that plan as well. I want to be a centenarian. I was hoping that I would make it to 100, and everybody who knows me says, oh my gosh, you're probably not going to die. And I won't. That's the truth. I'm not going to die because Jesus saved my life, and I'm going to have eternal life in heaven with him. So that was all true statements. I exercise. Lucy says I exercise more than when I was 30. That's awesome. Mm. See, there you go, 1910. 1910 says, my Nana is 90 and living alone. She does gardening, goes to the ladies' Bible study. Yeah, awesome. That's how you do it. Okay. Judy says, yes, Jesus saved me too. It's amazing, isn't it? The relief. Judy, there's no, you don't have to worry anymore. It's just like so relieving to know that your future is planned. My future's planned for me. I don't have to plan my future. It's like a done deal. It's a done deal. And it was so easy. I just have to admit I'm not special and Jesus is, and that I couldn't save myself and Jesus can. And that is the most amazing feeling ever. What protects from sarcopenia? Sarcopenia, just for definition, is low muscle mass or losing muscle mass. Okay, go lay down. Go lay down, Talo. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Okay. Sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is low muscle mass. It goes down when we get older. If we don't use it, we lose it. How about that? Okay. So we got to feed it and we got to lift weights. We got to do resistance training to increase muscle mass. We got to feed it with good fat and good protein, and that will feed our muscles. And yeah, we need to sleep good, get out in the sun, walk barefoot on the grass, think positive, go to Bible study, and all those good things. All right, that's what helps protect you from sarcopenia. Get rid of sugar, processed foods, and seed oils. Manhattan says, I'm gaining fat to increase muscular plasticity. I'm gaining fat to increase muscular plasticity. That's interesting. I'll have to look that up, Manhattan. Yes, Judy, very freeing. I agree. David, hey, that might be true. I do not know, but we don't know. I mean, Jesus could reach them on their dying deathbed, right? You just never know what Jesus has in store. What good fat do you recommend? Butter, tallow, ghee, lard. Those are the fats I consume. Good question. Thank you. What else you guys got for me? The day before the resurrection. What do you got for me? Did I miss anything? Lucy, did I miss any questions in there? How many of you guys are exercising every single day? No bark. Go lay down. Mm-mm. Okay, so for tomorrow, we know what we got to do. We got to go back to tried and true. We put the one in the kennel. We cannot have me getting distracted. Okay. Um, yeah, walking 3 miles a day. But when you walk or just are walking, you're actually burning your muscle. Okay. You're not increasing any tension by just carrying your body. I mean, honestly, as we get older, start looking at your glutes, your butt. And most people as they age, they get what we call flat butt syndrome. There's no more glutes. The glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, your lats, those are the largest muscle groups in your body, and they are deteriorating. They're atrophying, sarcopenia as we age. So just by walking, you're not doing anything for your glutes, hams, lats, quads, none of that. You actually need to do something over and above what you normally do in a day. You have to strain yourself. You have to lift strenuously to failure every set. That might look like 15 minutes. It might look like 1 hour. I don't know. But you cannot just continue to walk and not exercise your muscles, or they're going to continue to deteriorate. Um, Mr. George wants to know if I have any options besides carnivore or vegetarian. I would just say ketogenic. How about that? Ketogenic. So it's going to be low carb. So if you're a person who wants to eat some animal meat and animal proteins and also eat fruits and vegetables, go for it. Those are the other options. Mm, Let's see. Zentry, not a medical question, but have you ever thought of the chance of God, little g, not being real? Absolutely. Little g gods are not real. So I would agree with that. There's not even a chance. Little gods are not real. You can think that they are, but they're not. So is there, if you would have put, is there a chance of big G God not being real? No, I've never thought of that, nor would I ever think of that, not get my big G God being real. And so, yes, I continue to devote my life to big G God real. I think the other, the opposite is, how could he not be real? If you look at around you at creation, like your phone in front of you, there has to be a creator in front of behind that phone. Somebody had to create that phone. Okay. A picture has a painter. The creator created the universe and everything that's in the universe. There has to be a creator. But maybe you guys don't think that, and that's fine. Okay. Yep, 1910, you got to get lifting, lift weights. Or use bands. Maybe start out small and just use resistance bands. Chris asks, is diabetes reversible? Is type 2 diabetes reversible? Yes, I believe it is. However, if you get to the point where you have no beta cells working in your pancreas, you're going to have to take insulin. David asks, is type 3 diabetes, otherwise known as Alzheimer's, is that preventable? Yes, it is. Judy, I appreciate that. I believe God is real as well. Big G God. Michael says, is there a chance that the devil is not real? Absolutely not. Look in this world, and there is no chance that he is not real. Okay. Just wanted to know, I thought doctors believed in pure science. I don't understand your question, Mr. George. You guys are getting deep with me. Okay, I answered the question on the good fat. How much good fat should you consume? I usually look, I would look, Suzanne, I would look at your ideal body weight. So if you are at your ideal body weight, I'm just going to throw out a number here. Let's just say you are at 130 pounds and that's your ideal body weight. As we age, I would try to get closer to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 130 pounds, you're aging and you're working out, you should at least be getting 100 grams of protein. And I think you should at least be getting 100 grams of fat. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. And when times of day, I would eat your fat at your meals. If you eat one meal, eat your fat at your one meal. If I don't think that we should be skipping meals as much as we do. I think we should, especially women as they age. I don't want to say women. I mean, let's just say people as they age. I believe that we are not getting in enough fuel. So we need to be eating one or two, if not three meals a day. Maybe leaving it to one, you'll never eat enough. Okay. You cannot eat enough fuel in order to get 100 grams of, I mean, that would be 3 chicken breasts, and I mean, just look at what 100 grams of protein is, and I would not eat fake processed, powders to get my protein. Yes, you can reverse loss of muscle, but you gotta feed your muscle, and you gotta use resistance training. So, yeah, you can build muscle. How do you know your ideal body weight? That's a good question. Um, Sometimes what I will do, yes, you can use a BMI. You can do the BMI and you put yourself down to, 25 BMI and see what that comes up with. But here's the thing. When I think people know what they should weigh realistically. So if I was asking Suzanne, and Suzanne is, a certain height, and she's 200 pounds, and she says, I asked Suzanne what her ideal body weight is. She'd say, well, I know I should be 130. That is likely her ideal body weight. Okay. Most people have a general idea of what they should weigh. Okay. Now, some people are really skewed and they're 200 pounds and they say, oh, I think my ideal body weight should be 190 when they're 5'6" and have a lot of belly fat. Okay. Then I would say, you know what? I think that you're probably not really, you're not living in reality with that one. Okay. Um, Lucy, I think we're gonna have to take care of these here. I don't think it's necessary that we have this on here. That's not related to what we're doing here. Okay, Lucy. Hopefully you're still here. I don't know. Okay. All right. Yeah, I took care of that one, Lucy. I just don't think that we. Thank you. Okay. Roger, I need you to go lay down, buddy. I can't put you up here. You're kind of big. Okay, Roger's a fit. Do you want to say hi to the population here? Oh, gee. Ugh. He's only 15 pounds, but he feels like about 50. This is Tallow, and he's the one that's kind of making some commotion. I don't know why. I don't know why he's making commotion. So Roger's a 76-year-old male. He's a serial exerciser, recently diagnosed with OA of hands, wrists, having to change my exercise routine. No push-ups. Okay, no push-ups. That puts pressure on his wrists. No dips. Okay. Lighter dumbbells. I don't know why on the dumbbells. So 76-year-old, if think about your barbell, right? If you are pressing, your hands are bent back like that, right? So when you have a straight bar, you're going to be bent at your wrist. Same with you're doing push-ups, your wrist is going to be bent back like this. Okay. If you're doing a flat bench dumbbell press, instead of putting your hands like this and pressing, you turn your hands like this and press. Guess what? Your wrists don't bend. You're just going straight up and down. So there's no real reason for you to lower the weight unless you want to lower the weight, but you're not getting resistance. You'll have to do 50 reps to go to failure. Whereas if you increase your reps, you can do 10 reps and meet failure. Just my thoughts on it, but just change your grip. A lot of times, actually, you could do still do push-ups with your hands like this on one of the their little oh geez, Lucy, help me out. These little handheld things where you set them on the ground and you can change your grip positions instead of putting your arms flat on the ground. So that there's ways you can get through that, okay? And then you got to say, why do you have OA? Okay. I would say that that's an inflammatory condition. And could it be from your diet? Yes, Suzanne, I believe that you can build that muscle back, but you got to stimulate the muscle to grow. That means resistance training and feeding them protein and fat. I would not use wrist supports, Roger. That's going to make your wrists even weaker and you're compressing nerves and arteries at that area. I would not recommend that 76-year-old or anybody to wear wrist supports. You're going to make your condition, you're going to cause compression, and you're going to make your situation worse. Now your bones are going to be bone on bone pushing, okay? There's no gaps anywhere. So I cannot recommend that. I don't think that your doctor would have recommended that, but I could be wrong. Okay. You need to get down now. Do you want to get down? Did you say hi to everybody? Everybody, this is Talo. That's a good boy. Do you want to get down or no? He does not want to get down, you guys. I'm going to bring you guys closer to me. Okay. Yeah, it's some sort of a push-up stand. But they're separate. You can just carry them around. They're really light and you can just put them on the floor and you can turn your hands this way, that way. You can do this, you can do this, you can do that. I mean, they're great. Yeah, a trap bar is a game changer. I love trap bars. Mary, I agree. Yes, he's so scared right now. He's actually shaking. I know you can't see him, but yeah, he is a sweet boy, but I've had him for a year now. He just hasn't really kind of warmed up to anybody. It's just really, yeah, that side eye might be from he's got a little bit of dachshund in him. And so, dachshunds are really good at the side eye. But yeah, I don't know where the trauma came in his life, but wow. I mean, it's better. He lets me, he kind of lets me hug him, but if I put him too close, he pushes away really easily. He just doesn't want that contact. And again, I don't know what happened. I got him when he was about 2, so I don't know. I do not do requests to be in videos. Okay. Suzanne, can you reverse osteoporosis? I think that you can increase your bone density by working out and feeding your body protein and fat and getting rid of the inflammation, which in my eyes, that is a low carb ketogenic diet. Okay. Oh, Mary, takes time. Took my pup 2 years to touch his ears and paws, but I respected him until he allowed it. There are certain things he will let him touch his ears. Paws, do I touch his paws very often? I do not. But mine was just actually he never even knew what petting was on his neck. He had no idea. And so now I can actually pet him on his neck. But right now he's not shivering, but he's shaking. So he not if I pet his belly, there's nothing he doesn't get anything from that. It doesn't make him feel bad. See, now he's starting to get worked up. Do you want down? You get down. Go lay down. Okay. Go lay down. Go lay down. Thank you. Okay. Um, yeah, Mary, I will keep at it. Thank you though for the advice. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know about the former owner. I don't think he had a former owner. He was found on the streets in Norman, Oklahoma. So his name is Norman Tallow. I don't from the rescue on both sides of the border, Oklahoma, think that he never had an owner prior. So, but that doesn't mean he didn't have abuse from people in the, around. I don't know. He's very, very, very timid. He's not really into treats, but I will try that. Okay. Okay, hope. I don't want to take these medicines anymore. I'm not overweight. I'm 148 pounds, 5'8". Is there no reason for me to take all of these medicines? Please help. Thank you. Hope, that is a great question. However, I can't really answer it. And maybe you'd like to consider a consultation. And you can email me at ironladydoc@aol.com. We can go over your medications and your diagnoses. We can go over your recent labs. We can go over your lifestyle, including diet and exercise. So that might be a consideration for you. I'm it is not medical advice. I'm not your doctor, but I can give you some guidance on how you can talk to your doctor. Mm. Oh, thank you, Coffee. I will. And Susan, I appreciate that. Hope takes rosuvastatin 20 milligrams. So rosuvastatin at 20 milligrams is pretty high dose. Low dose okay, the other name for it is Crestor. Crestor rosuvastatin is a statin. And again, we have been talking statins for the last 2 weeks. If you want, catch my reels on statins. Most of them went viral. I didn't expect that, but I guess people like you guys are still wanting to hear about cholesterol, LDL, HDL, triglycerides, ApoB, LP little a, high sensitive CRP, getting calcium scores, checking for Alzheimer's, checking disease, you're checking your genetics for Alzheimer's and ApoE4 gene. These are all, I see where you guys are at. I can see both sides. The minute you go and to your doctor and you get labs, they're going to make a diagnosis for you. Okay. Now, some of you really, really, really want to know and get a baseline. I think that's great. Others do not want to know and they don't want a baseline. And I think that's great as well. There are some providers out there, usually holistic or functional. I mean, more of a holistic, they'll say, don't go to your doctor. Don't ever go to your doctor. You're going to get a diagnosis. You feel great. Why would you go? Oh, but I get free money when I go get my wellness exam. In a case like that, get the wellness exam and leave. Get the money for your credit card or whatever. They give you $400 back on on your insurance. Your employer will do that. Do that. But if you don't want labs, just say I don't want any labs. I don't want to know. Hope says, and they recently added Zetia. Zetia is not a statin. Zetia works in our stomach by decreasing cholesterol absorption. So they're hitting you from all angles, it looks like, Hope. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, Hope, I think getting a consultation, we can go over these things. I don't know what your cholesterol level is. I don't know what if you have diabetes, if you smoke, drink alcohol. Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just, being placed on all of these medications. Let's see if I missed any questions here. So Hope, did they do a calcium scoring test? What is your score? What is your triglycerides? What is your HDL? Did you get a high sensitive CRP? What is that level? It indicates, inflammation. Okay. He actually went and laid down, so I'm gonna hopefully keep him quiet right now. He gets worked up. I mean, yesterday, it's a good thing that that we didn't have a live stream yesterday because it was thundering here, and he freaks out. Eh, Not freaks out, but he definitely paces, hides everywhere he can, usually behind the wash machine and all kinds of things. I think he's had a lot of trauma. He would never go out in the rain when I'd have to let him out. And now, like yesterday, he actually went outside and went to the bathroom, but he ran back in. But prior, he wouldn't have done that. Um, Lucy asks, what is the test to find out how you absorb cholesterol? How you absorb cholesterol? I'm not sure. I guess for me, I don't know about a special test, and maybe I'm just not thinking about what you're asking. But if I see a patient who I believe is carnivore and they are telling me the truth, and I know they're carnivore, their LDL is sky high, HDL is high, triglycerides are low, and I get an NMR on them, and they have a lot of small, dense LDLs, which you would find highly irregular in a person with low trigs, high HDL. You would think that they have low, small, dense LDLs. But if I see that they have a lot of small, dense LDLs, I would, my thinking would tell me that they are not absorbing, they're not recycling their LDL back to the liver. The LDL receptors are closed down. I believe there's CTEP or something like that. I'd have to look that up. But the receptors just aren't accepting that LDL cholesterol back to recycle it. And I think that's what you're referring to as in not absorbing, I'm hoping. Thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. That was very kind. Okay. Mary, I did do kind of a test on him with AI. I thought he had Greyhound or Whippet in him, and he does not. And I could tell there's certain things you can tell by, and one of them was the tail. But another thing that I found out, thank you, coffee. I appreciate that. Coffee all day. I appreciate that. He's a Basenji. And there are certain things that qualified him for being a Basenji. But one thing that I always knew since I had him was that he did not have a normal bark. He had this weird, and I could show you when we're done here, but Basenjis do not bark, but Dachshunds do. So he had to have some mix in him. He sounded, I actually thought that whoever had him, the breeder, took out his vocal cords because he was barking. But now that I know that he might be a Basenji Dachshund, it's very typical of a Basenji not to be able to bark. They sing and kind of howl. He does howl, but it's weird as well. But that's what I think he is a Basenji Dachshund. All right, coffee. I'm going to do all of those little things. Yeah, Lucy, I would do an NMR and yeah, send me that podcast from yesterday that you listened to. Maybe I can help out. But yeah, getting advanced lipid test would help. Susan, I don't know what your question is. I'm sorry if I overlooked it, but I didn't see a question from you. Oh, Shirley, you're fine. Don't worry about sending me funds. You're very welcome. I would do this every Saturday and Sunday, Saturday at 9 a.m. Central and Sunday at 10 a.m. Central, whether you sent me funds or not. Okay. And if everybody listened only sent $1, that would be very, very helpful. Okay. You can buy a sticker or a super chat for 99 cents. So please don't think that you have to send huge amounts of funds. They just all add up over time. Suzanne says, should you eat when you're not hungry? I'm not hungry much. As we age, we don't get hungry, but you've actually cultivated that type of attitude. So yes, I would say in your case, if you're not hungry and you are atrophying, yes, you should eat when you're not hungry. And eventually you will be hungry because your body is right now saying that you are starving to death and you're not, but your body is shutting down. You're not burning, your mitochondria are not the furnaces they used to be. Your cells are very old and not working as well as they could be. And so that's an aging process. But you can slow that process down by feeding what you need, which is protein and fat. All right. Scroll up a bit to see her question. Okay. Sorry, Susan. I did not mean to overlook you. Oh, okay. Gotcha. 7 weeks in a lot of pain from twisting a lot of lemons. Doctor gave me a shot of what? Sent home with a brace and a script. Monday starts 8 weeks, improving a tiny bit every day. Is this long-term time recovery unusual? Okay, so I don't know where your pain is at, but if you're twisting lemons, so just like doing any type of screwdriver work, you likely have pain in your elbow. Is that where your pain is at? Is in your elbow and your lateral epicondyle? Or is it in your wrist? I don't know. But what I would suggest is Epsom salt water soaks and self massage to help break this up. It's been 7 weeks. Simply taking a medication could actually slow down the healing process. I don't know what script you're on, but taking an NSAID could slow down the healing process. Wearing a brace might be good initially, so you stop doing that particular movement. Don't use that hand. And if you're right-handed and you are twisting lemons with your right hand, then the brace is to not do any healing. It's actually to tell your brain not to use that hand, that upper extremity. So by now, you might know not to use that extremity because it hurts. But taking medications, I think, might be past, you could probably stop that by now. And I would start doing therapy. Maybe ask your doctor to send you to therapy. They have special therapists who only work upper extremities. I know they're around here. I have a go-to therapy, physical therapist who only works upper extremities, and she's good. She's real good. That's all she deals with. So, Susan, I'm guessing you either have some tendonitis in your wrist or you have tendonitis in your lateral epicondyle, otherwise known as tennis elbow. Okay. And thanks again, Coffee for the flower. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the flowers are those are called super stickers, I believe. There's super stickers and super chats. Okay. Teresa, I see patients online only, and it's not, wouldn't really call you a patient. I would call you a client now. I do not see patients in the office anymore. I closed my practice in April 30th, 2025. So 1 year ago, almost a year ago. I see patients or clients online. I act as your doctor coach. I do not give medical advice. I give information so you can soak it all up in your brain and use it to talk to your doctor. Shalom to you, Shirley. Thank you. And God bless as well. Kevin has gastroparesis. Do you know why you have gastroparesis? Do you have a neurodegenerative disorder or are you on a medication that causes that? Suzanne asks, what do you think about red light and near infrared light? I mean, some people would call it hocus pocus, but I have seen and heard, it depends on the wavelength, of course, and it depends on what you're using it for. I think using it for your skin, having, red light mask with red and near infrared light helps with collagen and elastin. I think getting inside a red, near infrared and red light therapy box for your heart, for blood flow, for nitric oxide, the best red light and near infrared light is the sun. So I get out whenever the sun is out because I believe the sun is healing. Now, if I talk to my dermatology friends, they would say that it's poison and it causes skin cancer, and I can't get on board with that. So in the summer or the spring, well, this is spring and we're still in winter. I try to get outside every single day and get red light therapy from the sun. Okay. Go lay down now. Go lay down. Go lay down. Okay. I didn't take any meds, use a brace when it hurts bad. Yeah, Susan, I seriously would start soaking it in warm Epsom salt. Oh, it's not in the elbow, it's the thumb and the wrist. Oh, okay. So you have veins. You have veins, tenosynovitis. So if you guys can see, this is right here is called your snuff box. Okay. And this is your thumb right here, the thumb extensor tendon. This is another one. Sorry, this is another one, but this is the tendon you likely have a problem with, and it goes all the way down in the wrist. And so you push right here. If somebody's got veins, if you push on this styloid process right here, it it really hurts the person. Also, when I do this maneuver, it's called the Finkelstein test. So I'll take their hand and bend it over, and they will get severe pain on their tendon right here as it crosses this styloid process on your radius. That's called veins tenosynovitis. Now, you instead of a brace, you really need something called a thumb spica splint, because anytime you do actually this, that's going to make your pain even worse. So a thumb spica splint allows you or prevents you from doing that maneuver or this maneuver. So you likely rotating with your thumb, not really your elbow. So I'm guessing I don't see you, I can't see you, and I'm hoping that I'm explaining this in such a way. But yeah, veins, tenosynovitis. People who do a lot of texting and gaming on their phone get veins. Um, a doctor by the name of Dr. Vein named this team, his name is on it, just like Alzheimer's. Well, I guess Alzheimer's and his name is on everything. Okay, well, anyway, yes, a Dr. Vein named that particular disorder. Got it? Okay. 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 Yes, you can DM me, Teresa. Hopefully, email me is better. I don't check YouTube as much. The DMs are so hard for me to find. So I do apologize for that. But if you want to email me at ironladydoc@aol.com, and maybe Lucy can put that in a pinned message. Yeah, 1910. I I mean, it could be just a fake red light therapy. I don't know. You're in Another thing is you're putting an LED in front of you again. We're trying to get rid of LEDs, and then you go buy a red light LED mask, or you buy red light therapy and it's a bunch of LEDs. So you're sitting inside of a microwave. I could go both ways, okay? I could go both ways on whether or not this is good or bad. I'm not sure. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm just not sure. Um, I Kevin, I don't know what your question is. It is the disorder. I don't know if that's a question or not. Hope says, can you just stop statins, or is it a gradual reduction? I mean, is there any side effects to stopping a statin cold turkey? No. Some doctors will argue that if you are blocking it for lots of years, or blocking it for months or years, okay? You're blocking, meaning you're blocking production of cholesterol from your liver. You're blocking the mevalonic pathway. And then all of a sudden you cold turkey and unblock it, could cause a rush of cholesterol into cause inflammation from all of that. Now we're playing, and that gets loud and distracting. Anyway, now I know what I got to do for tomorrow, Easter Sunday. I will be here Easter Sunday. Okay. Um, Let me see here. So when I don't know the answer, because we don't know blood work. We can't just like look inside of your arteries and see how much cholesterol is getting shot out of your liver when you automatically stop. So if you want to play it safe, hope one, you should be talking to your doctor and telling them and asking them how you do that. Okay. Say, doctor, I respect you, but I would like to go off of these statins, and how might I do that? That's how I would say that. Okay. But like I said, most people listening right here, you'll say, I stopped my statin 4 weeks ago or whatever they're doing, and they're still texting me. Uh, Suzanne says, I'm getting tiny little cysts on the palm. I don't know why they are popping up under the skin. Ti- on the palm. So you're getting little cysts? Are they hard? I mean, you can get ganglion cysts on your, on the tendons and the nerves. You can get cysts on your tendons. You can also get cysts, ganglion cysts on the nerves, and usually those are in a joint. So they would be, in different areas. But yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to look at it, Suzanne. I'm not sure. Okay. I could maybe pin. Let me see if I can pin that, Lucy. Pin message. Okay, I pinned that one, Lucy. The email. Let's see. Lucy says, my husband is a violinist drummer, and from time to time he gets that. Resting is the best thing. He gets declare Well, if he's playing guitar, I could see, or even, a violin. Yeah, I guess violin, you're working. But yeah, all the maybe the drumming, but yeah, declare veins. And once that tendon starts getting calcified, it's much easier to flare it up over time. So Lucy's husband could be getting it more often, getting flares, and he really needs to be careful. Okay. And sometimes he can use a thumb spica splint while he's doing his stuff, but then it could interfere with his ability to play the musical instrument. Okay, Susan, so that was it, declare veins. Okay. So yeah, I would soak that in warm Epsom salt. I would gently massage that and try to work out that calcification. That tendon is inflamed, very inflamed. You don't want to rub him like a massage. You want to gently, and I would put like in the warm Epsom salt, I would put some Vaseline, some just petroleum jelly on that area right here, and I would gently rub over it, and that will actually increase heat because petroleum jelly will increase heat in the area as well. You can use biofreeze, um, the Bengay or anything like that. Just anything that gives that area just a gentle self massage, and then soaking in Epsom salt water helps to decrease the inflammation. But yeah, you have to avoid everything now with that thumb. And a thumb spica splint, I don't know if that's what you have, but that would be the best. You can get it at the grocery store or at the Walgreens or whatever, CVS. I don't know what kind of where you're at. But yeah, it's called a thumb spica splint. And it basically has just a little piece of Velcro, but it's really the sum. So goalies get it. If you're a goalie, like a soccer goalie, hockey goalies, they'll a thumb spica splint it really helps people. You're okay. I'll watch for your email. Hopefully, it won't go to spam. So, thank you for telling me. I had 3 emails from you guys from last weekend, all in spam. And luckily, you came back and asked, did you get my emails? And I said, no. Well, I went and looked in my spam account. There was hundreds of spam emails that I had not cleaned out. And yeah, I found the email. So I don't know why. I'm guessing, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Um, Anne says, wow, Dequervain digit strain, tech thumb. Sounds just as bad as tech neck. Absolutely, tech neck. I saw that. Oh my gosh, that is such a common disorder. I can't even tell you how many people have tech neck. Yes, Tiger Balm is a good one. I like Tiger Balm. That's a 5 star. That's a great one. You can use that one as a what I would consider like a lubricant to help your fingers smooth over. You don't want to rub the skin over and over. That's causing a lot of inflammation. So just something like a petroleum jelly will, Vaseline will help. So good stuff, you guys. That's awesome. I don't ever get to talk about the musculoskeletal stuff, so I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, they're hard cysts on your palm and small, like tiny little pebbles, I'm guessing. Those, do they hurt when you push on them? Because if it's a ganglion cyst, honestly, they get very tender. They're mostly hard, but then again, if you're developing it, Suzanne, I would see a hand specialist. I really would. And get a diagnosis. I mean, I'm trying to diagnose it without seeing anything, and I'm going by your description, which is very good, but I just, it's hard for me to understand what it actually is without seeing it, and I might not even know what it is even if I did see it. But you gotta look for Debutrin's contractures. You can get contractures, Debutrin's. You can look that up. Deputry or Tryns, Debutrin's contractures. Some people say Debutrin's contracture. Uh, those are common, especially in Scandinavians. So there's all kinds of things that you could get on the palm, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you have, but hopefully that gives you a little. If it was me, and I would probably get a diagnosis just to know what it is, but I don't necessarily think I would do anything about it except for soak my hands in warm Epsom salt and do self massage to keep things, lubricated. Okay, good questions. Anything else? Did I miss anything over on YouTube? Sometimes I'll get on Instagram and then I'll miss the things on. Teresa's got a positive ANA. Any other tests? Did you have any other tests in addition to the ANA? So usually when you get a positive ANA, they will dig deeper to see where it's coming from. I don't know if you've had that looked into. All right. I don't see any other questions. I don't think I've missed any questions. If I did, please ask them again. Hey, here's one thing. Um, Anti-nuclear antibody, Lucy, ANA. It's all capitals, capital A, capital N, capital A. I check for it. If somebody comes in and has inflammatory joints, has rashes, has things that I might think about lupus or rheumatoid or things like that. A lot of doctors won't mess with, okay, a lot of family practice doctors will not mess with it and they'll just automatically send to a rheumatologist for further testing. If they have symptoms and maybe they get an x-ray, maybe not, they might have actually treated, so family medicine, the PCP might have actually treated them for a joint strain or something without really doing anything, give them an NSAID, like a leave, and then it didn't get better. The person's getting worse. They might have gotten some general, like a CMP and a CBC, still nothing. The person still's got joint, and they say, "Oh, you know what? I don't know what this is. I'm going to boot you over or punch you over to the rheumatologist, and they're going to do further testing." Sometimes the rheumatologist doesn't like the family practice doctor doing any labs because they're just going to do them all over again at the lab they choose and on their terms and all of that. You can see where there's always this, I don't know, division between the specialties. Okay. For both of you, Suzanne, for soaking, I would still put yours in warm Epsom salt as well and do self massage. Gentle, not rubbing because you don't want to increase inflammation. Yep, and the petroleum jelly, you got it. No, it doesn't hurt. Hmm. Thinking more along the lines of Debutrin's contractures. So you got tendon contractures, but again, I don't know. Is black seed oil good? I go back and forth on this. I used to take black seed oil and I don't anymore. In fact, I used to do a lot of supplements. I don't hardly do any longer. I just feel that my diet, the way I eat, which is a ketogenic diet, is going to be the best thing for me. I don't think I need any other oils like borage oil or black seed oil or essential fatty oils. I would rather eat sardines and get essential fatty acids or eat grass-fed meat to get my essential fatty acids. I'd rather eat pasture-raised eggs to get my essential fatty acids. I know that black seed oil has been shown to be anti-inflammatory. I get it. Um, but I'm guessing if Suzanne were to be on an anti-inflammatory diet, the inflammation in her joint, in her hands would likely go away. It would likely go away. I can't prove that, but not unless Suzanne did that, did an anti-inflammatory diet, which is basically getting rid of all processed foods, sugars, and seed oils, which basically means no carbs. Okay. Could pressure helping someone up with left hand cause these palm cysts? Could possibly helping someone up with the left hand cause it's over time. I mean, if you continue to do it over and over and over and over again, yeah, that's possible. Yep. Okay. Okay. I have MCDT and have dull pain in my left arm. I don't like taking drugs, OTC or otherwise. My arm is slightly weak when lifting above my head. What to do? Help me out. I don't know all these acronyms. MCDT. Help me out. Shirley says favorite foods, sardines, oysters, sauerkraut. My MS quit meds years ago. I feel better. Two melanomas slowing their growth, no carbs or sugars, black seed, oregano oil, excellent for me. So there you go. That's the question for Anne Marie over there on Instagram. Shirley is taking black seed oil and oregano oil and doing sardines, oysters. So she's getting, essential fatty acids. She's also getting vitamin A, vitamin D, and sauerkraut for the fermentation, anti-inflammation. But please, if you have MCAS or any type of histamine, please don't do any aged stuff, including fermented foods like sauerkraut or kombucha or aged steak. They will be very bad for you. Okay. I have Crohn's and diverticulosis. Osis means a condition of diverticuli in her large bowel, likely in the sigmoid colon. I cut carbs. All inflammation goes down. With carbs, I blow up like a pregnant person. Mary, I can actually picture it right now. So congratulations on no meds for your Crohn's or diverticulosis. Your diverticulosis could actually heal. Your Crohn's, all the inflammatory markers will go down. And yeah, that was all caused by plants and carbs. Well, carbs are plants. So you got rid of plants and your illnesses went away. Ed Edmund Ed Mandel Ed is taking a clove of garlic every day for 30 days good to help clean out your system. I have no idea. I don't do plants. I don't know much about garlic. I'm guessing garlic is anti-inflammatory, but it is a root plant and it grows in the ground. So as you're anti-inflammatorizing your body, you're actually taking in a lot of heavy metals. It's just one reason I don't do plants. Hi, Patty. Thank you for being here. Where are you listening from? Let's see. I think I got through. Oh, you're very welcome, Hope. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So I guess there's not any other questions that I see. Um, and I want to thank Lucy and Uncle Charlie for being here as my moderators on YouTube. We do need that over there, whereas Instagram is less, whatever. You guys are awesome on Instagram. And the ones who are being very polite over on YouTube, I do appreciate you. I can go without meds, but I do need carrot juice. It regulates me perfectly. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what the carrot juice is doing for you. It is very high in sugar, very, very high in sugar. And that is another root plant that grows under the ground, soaking up a lot of heavy metals. Juice is something where you're now pulverizing the actual vegetable, which again, I have questions in regards to that. I'm just saying, would a cup of coffee be better? Would taking in a couple of Brazil nuts be better than simply carrot juice? I'm just giving some suggestions. I'm glad to hear that meds make your system worse. That's great. Um, Ed says, so you recommend a carnivore diet or a fat and meat diet, no plants or carbs? Well, I'm not recommending anything. This is not medical advice. What I do for me is a ketogenic diet, yes. Do I eat plants? No, except for coffee. I do not eat plants, and I am much, much, much healthier for that. Now, if you want to eat plants, that is your decision, but you have to know that plants are very high in chemicals. Chemicals, whether they're from the ground or just naturally produced by the plant, they're called anti-nutrients. Examples are phytates and oxalates. I, for one, do not want any of those chemicals in my body. I'm trying to avoid the chemicals. When I have phytates and oxalates, you decrease the absorption of vitamins and minerals that you need, like B vitamins. You decrease the absorption of calcium and zinc and selenium and magnesium, anything with a positive charge. You also decrease the absorption of amino acids. So I always joke around that if I'm going to spend $30 for my birthday steak, I'm not going to lay some plants next to it to make my $30 ribeye worth about $5 because I didn't absorb it. So that's where I stand on plants. Now, you don't have to do what I say. I'm not saying you don't have to do what I do. It's up to you. But I think we should have informed consent. So you need to know about all of the anti-nutrients. You need to know what plants are doing to your your gut lining by increasing the gap junctions and causing leaky gut. You need to know that. Now, if you say, Dr. Jensen, I really can't, I'm going to eat vegetables. So, how can I eat vegetables and make it less harmful to me? I would say, if you're going to eat a vegetable, boil it for about 20 minutes. That will boil out phytates and oxalates. Okay. And that would make it less, not completely free of them. So if you want to boil your vegetables, then go for it. That will help out a lot, okay, to get that out. And please don't drink that water or put that water in anything except for unless you're putting it on another plant, okay? But that is very toxic water that you're boiling it in. All right. Um, oh, you're welcome, Shirley. Thank you so much for that. Oh, mixed connective tissue disorder. I got you. B, thank you. Is it B or Bo? I'm sorry if I um mixed connective tissue. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I have absolutely, in my practice of 27 years, I might have had 3 mixed connective tissue disorder patients. I am very not well versed on that. And I would just be, just spewing in words and it wouldn't be informational at all. My thought process is that any inflammatory connective tissue disease or MS or neurodegenerative disease respond very well to low carb ketogenic diets. Okay. That's just my thought. So, people who have all these disorders, if they do an elimination diet, they usually do get better. Okay. Is it Bo or B? I'm sorry if it's hard to tell. Diagnosed with Raynaud's syndrome, which comes and goes. Refused amlodipine. Okay. Since I don't want to do any drugs, all you got to do is keep your extremities warm. Just wear gloves all the time or socks on your hands and keep warm. Keep warm. You might want to try red light therapy. I don't know. Okay. It could be. I'm not sure on that. I'd really have to look into it. You're stretching my knowledge right now. I don't know enough that I could give you a good answer. Okay. Mm, yeah, Mary, that makes total sense now that you're saying that. So your primary diet has been Indian because you don't get sick. Okay. Almost all are cooked down into a gravy. There you go. So that makes a big difference for you, it looks like. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Um, What is the coconut mixed with pineapple chunks and lemon and a bit of cinnamon do? Is it okay? I know you say, I know it's B, but I know a bow that spells it BEA too. So I'm guessing it's B since you're saying that. Okay. Suzanne, greens and lettuce is bad? Well, they're plants, Suzanne. That's all I'm saying. You feel organic plants, lettuce, broccoli bad? They're plants. I'm not going to put plants in my body. And whether or not they're organic, that just means that you think that they weren't sprayed by the person who grew the organic plant. Okay. That doesn't stop the air from blowing on the organic plant and causing just as much damage to it. So, really, unless you were eating the, what is it, grown in a tent where it's grown in water, when the plants are grown in water. What is that? Something pod. What is that? When you grow the vegetables and all of that in water. Aqua, shoot. Instead of the ground. I can't think of the name of it. There's farmers that do that now. But anyway, no, I would not. Hydro? No, that doesn't sound right. Aquaponics. Aquaponics, is that it? Hydrophonic. Is it hydroponics? Oh shoot, I can't remember. Is it? Oh, hydroponic. Thank you, 19. Yes, you guys were right. You guys were right. Thank you, hydro. Yeah, hydroponic. Thank you, guys. So yeah, maybe that would be a better way, but I would still cook them completely. Thank you, Diane. You guys are all on it. I appreciate you guys. See how this is fun. You're getting me to learn. I know just a little bit, and then all of a sudden, yeah, and then I can't think of all the words. But great, good job, you guys. Okay. All right. I think that's it for the questions. But to answer, for those of you, if you can tolerate plants, eat the plants. But it's a slow, gradual process, this inflammation in our body. If I'm trying to decrease inflammation in my body, I'm not going to eat foods that are inflammatory, me personally. Okay. Unless it's like on my birthday or something, or say I go out for pizza, which is rare. I think I do that twice a year. And I don't even know why I choose pizza. I just think, I haven't had a pizza for a year. And then I maybe go to do that. But you guys, it's got to be something that feel heartfelt about, and you decide for yourself whether or not you're going to do it. But if you ate plants and you got a constantly bloated abdomen and you feel like you don't know whether you're going to have diarrhea or constipation, I would just give up the plants. I did it once on an experiment when I first started this, probably 3 or 4 years ago. I gave up all plants like cold turkey, and then I added one back at a time. And the first one I added back was um, peanut butter. I had one, it was more like a tablespoon. I had 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, and I was walking over cramped for probably the next 24 hours. Melanie, happy Easter to you. Well, I don't, happy Resurrection Day. He has risen indeed. And that's fine. Melanie, I'll still be here. I do my celebration of Jesus, and then I'll still celebrate with you guys by having a live stream. All right, Lucy, have a blessed day as well. And good stuff. B's doing an elimination diet and all is good. Yeah, kryptonite and peanut butter, I agree. So you just got to stay away. Okay. And I even found out which peanut butter was even worse. Oh my goodness. I don't want to mention it because I don't want to slap up, but it was bad for me. And you're welcome, Hope. Okay, you guys, we'll call it quits today. We've been chit-chatting about all your questions here for Saturday live stream every Saturday at 9 a.m. Central and every Sunday at 10 a.m. Central. We'll answer your health topics, your questions, try to answer them. So, Suzanne, hopefully you got that. But live streams are Saturday at 9 a.m. Central and Sunday at 10 a.m. Central every weekend on YouTube and Instagram. Okay. And Susan, yeah, good luck with that soaking in the whole tub. Put some Epsom salt in there. Go for it. All right. You guys, if you want to consult with me, email me at ironladydoc, IronLadyDoc, ironladydoc@aol.com. And we can go over your labs, your medicines, your diagnoses, your lifestyle, all of it. Okay. All right. So you guys have a most wonderful, blessed day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.